One of the most recognizable aspects of Star Trek is the Klingons. In fact, ask a non-Trekkie what they know about Star Trek, and there's a pretty good chance they've heard of Klingons. Or at the very least, that one joke. What do the Starship Enterprise and toilet paper have in common? They both circle Uranus looking for Klingons!
Ha! Yeah, kill me!
As the years went on, Klingons went from the main antagonists in the original series to sometimes friends, sometimes enemies of the Federation in the Next Generation era, with a very rich culture and sense of honor. In fact, a lot of Klingon-centric episodes rank among the top episodes in Star Trek. So, it's no surprise that when Star Trek video games came out, that there would be a couple of games based around Klingons. Star Trek Klingon is a 3-disc set that was released for PC and Mac in 1996. It's also worth noting that another similar game called Star Trek Borg was released in the same year, which might be the subject for another review. The first 2 discs are what they call Immersion Studies, or what amounts to an interactive movie. And you know what that means, right? FMV! Yes! Glorious, cheesy FMV from the 90s is what I live for! Why else would I love the Sega CD so much? The 3rd disc is the Klingon Language Lab, which is an aid in learning Klingon. Or Klingonese? Whatever. But enough talk. Today is a good day to play Star Trek Klingon. I installed this game on my Windows 95 virtual machine, and I must say, a Klingon must have put together this setup. Welcome human, press cancel if you're a Ferengi. It's amazing. And check out the amount of space I need. I don't know, do I have almost 30 megabytes of space? The immersion studies of this game begins with Gowron, played by Robert O'Reilly, and his eyes, speaking to you in Klingon before transitioning into the title screen and opening credits.
Cha uku upush shokta osh lohe luchlo.
Hold up! Ronald D. Moore and directed by Jonathan Frakes? Oh, this is gonna be good. Gowron breaks into English and tells you that he created this holodeck adventure to teach people that Klingons aren't the bloodthirsty antagonists that everyone thinks they are. He's telling all the Klingon secrets in his tell-all holodeck adventure. And, of course, he proceeds to threaten you before the adventure begins.
But you will be a warrior. Then, it will be an honor to kill you.
The holo program starts with you as young Puck, just about to enter into the Rite of Ascension and become a warrior. So naturally there's a party. Well, there's a familiar face.
Biscuits.
You'll actually find a lot of familiar Trek character actors in this game, which I like. Well, it looks like your family is very well connected. Look who showed up, Chancellor Gowron himself. Gowron brought you a little graduation present. Not quite the car I wanted, but okay. So here is where we come to the bulk of the gameplay. When you reach these decision points, a cursor appears and you have to click on what you want to interact with, or do nothing at all. If you select correctly, the story progresses, but choose incorrectly and...
He's alright.
What? I just wanted to give Gowron a hug. It's a party!
Enough!
Well, I chose incorrectly when receiving Gowron's presents, so I get a scolding from Gowron and this look. And I get to try again.
My house thanks you for all you have given us, Gowron. I above all know what you give up for me, for the Empire.
I gotta say, I love the first-person view in this game. I know it's to make it feel like you're in the game, but you know what? It's very delightfully cheesy. After you take the presents, and after Gowron admits he has the hots for your mom?
Your wife, Qatar, looks well.
Yes. Do you regret that you did not take her for your wife?
She has brought you great happiness. And a son. There is nothing to regret.
It's time to bring the gifts over by Mama Seska. Boy, she gets around.
Listen to my words! It's hard to believe one so stupid and weak is capable of running a Klingon house.
Well, I guess we have to let this jerk into the party. Mom said so. That's Vok, by the way. He's kinda a rival to your family in Gowron, but he's being allowed into the party because tradition. In fact, a Klingon Thanksgiving must be a pretty smooth affair.
Do not spoil the day with politics!
Oh no, I'm not brave enough for politics.
Hold up, is that Yuda's dress? Well, somebody raided the wardrobe department. The party takes off much like a human party would.
Warning. Stay away from the Rokek blood pie. Choctaw's mate rotted and she could overcook a Dicus plant.
My mate's Rokek is the best in the world. True. A recipe from a Federation woman.
I will send you my mother's recipe.
How dare you!
A liquid spice they call vodka.
Rutka.
Vodka.
Where's the food?
Oh, gross! Other people have to eat that!
I hope they're still alive.
Well, after everyone has slobbered over and put their hand in all the food. Of course, Klingon Opera. But now it's time to open the gifts and... oh, a crystal kidney stone. Thanks, Gowron. But this gift came with an unwelcome part too. If you thought the crystal kidney stone was bad enough...
I'm the killer.
well, clearly I have to go for the thing that matters most.
Someone is about to die, and this is what you care about? A trinket? Are you Klingon or Ferengi?
Wait, I've seen Dune. I know how to handle this. Weirdly enough, even though this is the correct choice, the result is the same as if you did nothing. Except actually doing nothing gets you scolded.
Did you not hear what I said? Petard, or someone will die.
The probe comes for Gowron, and he's prepared to meet it until...
No!
Pock's father Torn takes the probe for Gowron and dies. So that means we have to do two things. One... and two, take a blood oath and seek revenge. But hold on a minute. Pock is still a boy. He can't just go on a revenge quest. So let's poke him with some pain sticks. Guys, can we talk about this? Ow. Ow.
Travel the river of blood! You're almost there. 2 more steps and you'll have done what no non-Klingon has ever done.
Well, that's reassuring. Well, now that Pock's a warrior, we have to decide if we're going or not. Well, I've always been a bit of a smart. What happens if I say no?
It is clear you have not paid attention. Come back when you are rested. Try again! Computer end program!
So... Gowron just shut off the game and I didn't save. Alright. Let's try this again.
Have your things beamed up to my ship.
But whose eyes are those?
His eyes. His eyes.
Here we go on a Klingon bird of prey where Gowron runs a pretty tight ship.
When I say wait there, it means wait there! There is no such thing as a casual order aboard a Klingon ship. Every order is obeyed. If I say jump out of an airlock, you will jump out of an airlock!
It's a pretty typical Klingon ship. But now I have to pick my position on this ship. Well, go big or go home, am I right?
What? You would captain the ship? Your eyes are bigger than your head.
The only acceptable option is to pick a fight with this poor sap. No, that's not Two-Eyed Martok who ran into one of those aging viruses. It's Larot. He's the guy that everyone picks on because he's old. They fight him out of console positions, you take food from him, the works. But with a bridge position, we're on our way. How about some tunes?
Along a march so true, never march of war. Cool, but
Oh, this guy's really getting into it. Well, I guess humans have 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Klingons have this. Changing to the second disc, we find ourselves in a bar. Well, it's no Quarks, but it'll do. Well, let's order up some drinks.
This is necktie.
Listen to some Klingon Opera.
Do you know any Klingon Opera?
And tear the place up.
That was perhaps more than the song was worth. But still, it is done. And we pay for what we destroy.
Sorry about the mess.
Well, it turns out the bartender Meska has the information we need. And Gowron has some very interesting ways of getting it.
And tell me what I want to know. Who brings these probes into this system?
I don't know. I don't know.
My eyes! It's a Packlet vessel!
Packlet. Stupid beasts.
Okay, we got the information we need and some booze for the road.
No sense in wasting it, huh?
Oh, great. We've thrown alcohol into the mix. What could possibly go wrong? So now we're tracking down a Packlet ship, which we've only seen in that one Next Generation episode where they kidnapped Geordi.
How can they do this?
They are Packlet.
So Gowron puts on the old Gowron charm.
No Packlet knows anything.
You'll come a cha!
Oh, I'm afraid I will not beam over.
Why? Well, then you must come aboard our ship and explain why you are afraid to come aboard.
Yes, I will do that.
Alright, now we have the chance to use the controls on our console. Oops.
I did not order disruptors fired. You have destroyed the ship before we could get any information. Leave my sight.
Unfortunately, if you fail this part, you have to re-watch the scene with Gowron talking to the Packlet until you get to your console again. Now, this is one part of the game where if you miss it 5 times, Gowron sends you all the way back to the bar. You do get some hilarious scenes of Gowron scolding you if you do nothing.
Are you sick? Injured? Surely you can move faster than that. What is the matter? Do you not understand what is being said to you? Try again. Faster!
But sending you all the way back to the start of the disc is like, well... Now the question is, how do you get past this part? Well, you had to be paying attention to Captain Biscuits.
Biscuits?
While he was following Gowron's orders to see what the console controls do. You beam the Packlet aboard.
Why did you do that? To frighten you, Captain. Is it working?
And you find out that the bartender sent you on a...
Chasing an untamed ornithoid without cause.
A wild goose chase?
So you have to chase him down again. But not before stealing some more food from Larat. Of course, now Gowron tells you to be nice to the old warrior after stealing his post and at least 2 meals. So later on, you write him a little poem.
When he dies, the heavens will shake with the screams of his comrades, warning the dead, beware, beware. A warrior is coming.
I guess that squares us. We arrived back at the bar with no bartender to be seen. Apparently he skipped town and didn't pay his employees.
He owes me 3 weeks' pay, and the tips in this place aren't enough to keep a wheeze beetle alive.
Well, I guess we're stuck waiting for some of his buddies to come around. Meanwhile, Gowron suspects that one of his own men betrayed him, and you have to guess which one. Well, it's not Larat because he's too honorable.
Think again.
Well, how about this guy?
Ha! You are guessing.
Well, yeah, I barely know most of these characters except those that I've already seen in the shows before. So through process of elimination, I guess it's this guy.
So it was you, Turlock! You betrayed me! Now you will tell me everything. I want to know where the bartender is!
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Somebody earned a spot on Gowron's ship. Gowron tracks down the bartender, who is anything but cooperative.
No!
But what's this? No! She sang Klingon Opera so well! Oh yeah, and there's also a bomb on the ship, but she knows the disarm code. She tries to bargain for hers and the bartender's lives, and also gives a vital clue as to the identity of who hired them.
Want to know who hired me? A Klingon from Tanganyika, from an ancient house.
Alira, you embarrass yourself.
Well, that's good enough for Gowron.
Bah!
There is, of course, still the little matter of the bomb. You get 3 tries to guess the disarming code, which will no doubt end in...
We are all dead, Puck, but we died well!
I guess today was a good day to die. But not such a good day to end the game. Now, is there a correct solution? Yes. Is there a clue hidden in the game? Yes. Did I end up looking it up in a walkthrough? Absolutely. It turns out that the code is actually the keys played by the singer at the bar. Oh, were you distracted by the delightful tune? Well, that's how easily you could have missed it. I mean, I always went with...
Red, we're dead. Blue, we're through. Yellow, we're mellow.
Back at home, Uncle Quaylon is ready to move on. Vengeance has been satisfied. But Gowron does not think so.
But the circle does not feel complete.
And straight out of a soap opera...
Qatar! I would speak with Gowron!
The wife of the man accused of killing Pock's father barges in and says that it wasn't him. He had nothing to gain. Plus, Uncle Quaylon over here was more than willing to take control of the House of Sepeach, which should technically be my right. Who really killed Torn? Well, just for laughs, I thought I'd see what would happen if I fingered Gowron. And I get laughed in my face. Oh no!
I shall kill you for thinking this. No. I shall do worse.
I would send you back!
No! A fate worse than death! Well, okay, but what happens if I accuse Mama Seska?
This is not the way!
Alright. Pock ends up accusing his uncle, who doesn't take it very well, and challenges you to a fight to the death to prove his innocence. You get to pick your weapon, so naturally I went with the good old-fashioned batleth. This is where the first-person view really shines. I mean, look at these shots. You couldn't get much closer to a batleth fight. It's like you're actually fighting Quaylon. So, Uncle gets beaten like a little... and confesses to the whole thing.
Why did our grandfathers conquer them if they were not meant to be ruled?
Well, Uncle seems stable. Well, Uncle dies with dishonor, and we're treated to a close-up of Gowron. Gowron congratulates you for completing the program, makes some veiled threats,
Perhaps you have learned it too well.
and invites you to revisit this program anytime you want. And then throws a knife at you. Kapla! Of course, there's still one more disc that I need to talk about. The Language Lab on Disc 3. I'm not going to spend too much time on this since it's pretty straightforward. You can pick from 8 categories and learn Klingon vocabulary words. Each word comes with the Klingon word, an English translation, an illustration, either from the game or from the Star Trek shows. a video clip of Gowron and his eyes saying the word,
Goch.
and more, which provides more details for some words.
The translation titmouse is really only an approximation of what this word means. Kahom is a small animal considered rather insignificant.
You can drill yourself on the words with multiple choice questions, and the program keeps track of how many you get right or wrong. Clearly, I'm not very good at this. And when you get them wrong, the program provides you with an explanation. There is also a section about how to pronounce the various sounds in Klingon with more Gowron video clips. It's a fun extra program, but if you're expecting to learn Klingon from this really isn't enough. You can learn the vocab words and common phrases, but the vocab is limited and you never learn about syntax. Well, that's okay. I came for the interactive movie anyways. And the eyes of Gowron. And that's Star Trek Klingon, an interactive Star Trek adventure. So, is this an honorable game? I am, of course, using my grading rubric, but with a few adjustments. There are 25 points to be earned and 5 categories. I'm also including some ungraded categories as additional information. Let's start with the ungraded categories, shall we? The game's difficulty I would call medium. A knowledge of Klingons and Star Trek certainly helps, so I can see a non-Trekkie having some trouble with some of the finer points of the game. But then again, a non-Trekkie probably wouldn't be playing a Star Trek game. There are 2 parts that require an observant eye, and getting some choices wrong can result in being sent back to a much earlier spot in the game. Otherwise, the game isn't too hard. As for any walkthrough recommendations, I would say keep one nearby just in case. As I've mentioned, some solutions aren't as obvious and requires you to really pay attention to small details. As small as what keys are being played on an alien xylophone. Sure, you can figure it out on your own, but no one's gonna blame you for looking up the solution just so you can avoid replaying an entire disc. With that out of the way, let's get to the grading. The game controls are straightforward in some ways and not obvious in others. It's a point-and-click adventure, so you can just click on the stuff you want to interact with. However, I had to look up pausing, resuming, saving, and quitting in the game's manual. For that, 3 out of 5. The appearance and ambiance are very Klingon, and fit in with the Klingons presented in the Star Trek shows. My main complaint is the menus, or lack thereof. As far as I can tell, the only menu you encounter is when you start up the game, and it's very bare bones, much like a Klingon ship. I can give some credit to Klingon phrases being used in the game's pop-ups though. 3 out of 5. Good for the Klingon ambience, not so good for the lack of easy interface. New category, Story. Props to this game for delivering a Star Trek story from a different perspective. Sure, we see Klingon culture in the show, but it's mostly from the perspective of the Federation. This is a Klingon story from a Klingon perspective, even if you're technically playing as a human. And it feels very authentic. Bonus points for bringing Robert O'Reilly in as Gowron and for including actors who appeared on the show. Many of them as Klingons, so they knew the role. 5 out of 5. Good job, Mr. Frakes. New category, Learning Curve. While knowing the game's hotkeys makes gameplay easier, you can just jump right in. While there isn't a tutorial, Gowron does help you throughout the game to make the right decision, even if he punishes you occasionally. 5 out of 5. This is a pretty easy game to play. The replayability for this game is high. Sure, the story doesn't change, but you're encouraged to go back and discover new things. I didn't talk about it during the review, but you can pause the game to learn about different Klingon props. Plus, it's a good Klingon story, so it's like rewatching your favorite episodes. Though, I would say the replayability is probably higher if you're a Trekkie of the Next Generation era. 4 out of 5. That leaves us with a score of 20 out of 25 or 80%. If this game had a better user interface, I think it would have had a much higher score. But if you can overlook that, this is a pretty great game to have. Without the rubric, I probably would have given this game an A. This is a game worthy of song and almost plays like a Star Trek episode. I've run across this game a few times in my retro gaming shopping trips, and usually for under $10. If you're a Trekkie and love Klingons, definitely pick this game up. Wait, rated M? A Star Trek game rated M? Admittedly, I don't play a lot of rated M games. I mostly stick in the E to teen range myself. It's personal preference. But this rating baffles me. Sure, there's some blood here and there, and purple blood at that, and a couple of characters get killed, but it's really no worse than what you would see in an episode of Star Trek. Teen rating I can see, but M? I'm kinda curious what the thought process behind the rating was. Maybe they had a good reason for it, but it's not so obvious to me. So what do you think? Have you played Star Trek Klingon? Was it glorious? Was it dishonorable? Are you interested in playing it now if you haven't played it? Please leave a comment. Would you like to see me tackle Star Trek Borg in a future review? It has John Delancey in it. As always, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks again, and until next time...
Sleep well, but sleep light.